All right, y'all, let's get into the Dalai Lama and the tongue-sucking child and tie some points of light together for us. We are in the time of people being offended, so I will be getting into things that will be offending people. I call this the time of offense. I think it's catchy. So the things I'm going to be laying out are part of the reveal. All right. And as Jesus is returning into his kingdom and he is gathering up his bride, and we will all be in the kingdom eventually, but it tells us that the last shall be first and the first shall be last. Okay. Because what man thinks of as first is actually last in the kingdom of God. And what man thinks of as last will be first in the kingdom of God, because we're going into a spiritual age of man, and the carnal age of the church age is going to go away, and the spiritual church age is going to come. And since Jesus died for all sins, past, present, and future, and if you are truly saved, you cannot sin. Okay? Jesus has given us a born-again spirit that is over the flesh, and we cannot sin. Our flesh sins. Our carnality sins according to the flesh, according to the law, we sin, but we do not sin as believers. We are the sons of God. We are the King of Kings. We are the Lord of Lords. No man can bring us down. No man can bring us shame. No man can bring us guilt. Okay? We are the King of Kings. We are the Lord of Lords. We go and catch the men. The men do not catch us. If you are given a born-again spirit and you're going to church, you need to think about that spirit you have. If you are going and listening to your pastor who's making you weep, who's making you cry, you need to think about that spirit you got. If you're singing out loud, asking God to forgive you, asking Jesus to forgive you, Jesus lives inside of you. You better talk to yourself. You better get some self-control. You better start mowing the grass around your temple and start taking care of the temple and cleansing it out and getting all the trash out of it that's inside of it that's built up. Okay? Because when you get too much trash in there, the rats take over, the beasts come in and take over, and that's what we got today. All right? Your body's not a temple. It is a cave where the beasts dwell, and it is a lower chakra, and there's no light in there, and that's why you need to clean out the temple. You need to get your higher chakra on. You need to get the light going on in the forehead. You need to start thinking about shit in this world and seeking after truth, because until you do, you're going to be the first that is last, okay? And as you get offended and you turn this off, that's why the first shall be last, because the first don't want to be corrected. The first already think they got their shit in line. So the Dalai Lama and the tongue sucking. This kind of ties back into the Easter egg that I laid out there for the eunuchs and such. The eunuchs are not men with balls cut off like the church likes to teach, or some pastors like to teach, or whatever else, okay? The eunuchs are the rainbow characters today, all right? The people who like the man on man or the woman on woman, the Bible is telling us in Matthew 19 about this lifestyle. And the reason why people don't understand this is because they don't understand Genesis 1 and Genesis 2. Male and female made after he, them, told to be fruitful and multiply, and the Son of Man, Adam and Eve, with the man and woman, all right? Two different things going on there. And that's why the sons of God had to take the daughters of men, and they took the daughters of men with the wombs. They created the mighty men. Who are the mighty men? The mighty men are the iniquity men. The mighty men, Satan, Lucifer, the ones who brought the law to the land. The ones who walked in heaven. Where's heaven? It's on earth. Hell is on earth. It's a mindset. If you're on hell, you're crying and weeping and gnashing of the teeth because your pastor caught you in the fucking gill and you can't breathe. You can't breathe because all the shit he's feeding you. He has you sit on the pew to let you know you're going to be hearing a bunch of shit for the next hour. Okay? Plain and simple. If you were born again and Jesus lived inside of you, you wouldn't need to go to that temple. All right? Because no man can tell God what to do. And as a son of God, you are God. And we are the many G's. We are all God. We are that Taurus. They tell you the Taurus field runs Earth. That's us. That's us connecting to the sun. All right? We are the mini Taurus. That's our main energy thing. It's a cycle. And we communicate and we get energy and all this other stuff from the sun, and the people aren't getting it. They're not worshiping the right sun. They're not grounded. It just goes over and over and over again. They get their grounding from the TV in this world, and they don't get their grounding from the natural earth. And so the eunuchs, all right, in the Bible, got the Bible here. In the Bible, he's telling his disciples and the people that's around him and such that all men cannot receive this saying, save they to whom it is given. Okay? And then he ends it with, he that is able to receive it, let him receive it. And between that, he's talking about the eunuchs either being born of the mother or being born of men, or either being the eunuchs which have made themselves eunuchs for the kingdom of heaven's sake, okay? Because in heaven, we can do whatever we want to do, all right? And once you understand, we got to do another video on what... We're going to do a video on sex and the orgasm and the electricity and all that stuff going on there. But that ties to kind of the heaven or whatever, because the sun is electrical and we are electrical beings, and the sex is a way that, well, we'll just do it real quick. When two people orgasm, they're becoming one, or when two people, the man and woman, or male and female, become one. God has brought them together and they create an electrical spark together, and that's the orgasm or whatever. And together that is kind of creating that nuclear fusion, the fused sun, the fuse that may enter in, and all those kinds of things that tie on. But that is when the two become one, and that electric spark. All right, and that's and that's how masturbation, the one who doesn't need the other one, that's the God, the masturbator, the fisher of all men. He is the one who is the one who doesn't need the woman, that Jesus said there was few of those men out there or whatever. Anyways, that's why he tells you that it's better to live in the woods alone than with a pretentious woman and whatever else. But either way, so as gods, you don't need people. You choose to be around people. Don't forsake the assembly. You choose to create. You choose to be with your wife. You choose to be with your husband. It's all about love. You're choosing to be there because of love and those types of things. So as there's more to the sex stuff, but we might do a video on it or not, but that's just to tie together the two becoming one, and how we're brought together as electrical beings, and we're creating that spark of life, and then we can create life after that, and that spark carries on, and life begets life, and energy, that spark is going to spark life or whatever. So sex now is taught to us in a wrong way, and it's more of a energetic exchange of God, in a matter of speaking, where God's becoming one, and that's how Jesus died for all sins, and we're going into a kingdom where all things will be shared, in a matter of speaking, okay? Now, granted, that would be like years from now, unless they do it like through digitization, where you have like your sex suit or whatever going to go on. But that would be a way to keep disease free and whatever else, or also AI. You don't want to do these things now because disease and whatever else, right? We're going into those times. We're not in those times yet. So AI can come out with ways to cure man or whatever, where disease doesn't never exist anymore, and that's where man enters into heaven again, and where man starts living to 5, 6, 7, 800 years old and whatever else. Okay. Also with nuclear fusion coming on, that's part of that, ties together all this stuff too. So real quick, Jesus asked for the children to come to him. All right. And the disciples rebuked the children, said, don't go to that man. Don't go to that man. And so Jesus said, suffer little children and forbid them not to come unto me, for of such is the kingdom of heaven. And he laid his hands on them and departed thence. It's exactly what Muhammad did. It's exactly what the Dalai Lama just did. It's the stuff y'all are being taught and brainwashed, okay? To be against the right and wrong, the mark in the right hand, okay? Because in a natural speaking scenario, the mom and dad have control over that child. When that child becomes the age of breeding, then that child is able to breed and move on, and they can take a husband, a wife, and it's up to the parents to give that child away, or however it all works. But it's not for society to judge. It's not for each man to judge or whatever. So this is where you're starting to see that that age difference stuff work in. And y'all want to call me a pervert or whatever, but I can go out into these churches and I can find all day long these 60-year-old dudes with these 40-year-old women, 20-year-old women, 30-year-old women, you name it, 50-year-old dudes with 20, 30-year-old women, 20-year, 30-year difference. What's perverted? We're all we're all children in the eyes of God. God brings together what God brings together. Let no man put asunder. Do you believe the Bible or do you not believe the Bible? Do you believe what Jesus said or you do not believe what Jesus said? You believe what your fucking pastor says. That's what you believe. And that's why the first shall be last. Okay? Because some of us has listened to those pastors, and we have gone out and tested those pastors, and we have realized those pastors are lying and they are full of shit. Okay? Plain and simple. And this is why the pastors today, they're running with their tails under them when I try and reach out to them. And they don't want to have anything to do, because once they realize all this, they don't have a job. I realize why they're upset or why they're running. Because they don't have no fucking job. And they're manipulating men. They're lying to men. They're lying to all of you. If you are born again, you are saved. You cannot say, you cannot sin. You cannot sin in the Spirit. It's so simple. There are few that find it. The least shall be first in the kingdom. And we are realizing that Jesus is this man of sin. He was hung on the cross. He was a sinner according to the Jew. The Jew judges by the appearance. The Jew judges by the law. The Jewish nation did not exist when Jesus walked the earth. As far as how we are taught, the Jews were scattered among all nations. The Jew man is the you man. The Baal worship. Worshiping the law. Can't hire him. He's a felon. Shame on y'all. Shame on all of you. So, as the revealing of Jesus is coming about, there are going to be many that will be left behind because they do not want to see truth. They do not want to seek after truth. They just want to be stuck on their American pride. They want to be lost in their American dream that's going to turn into the American nightmare. And we will have to end it here because of time.